Hi there everyone, my name is Nixus, and I'm going to try something a bit different today. E3 is this week, and if you're a big Nintendo fan like I am, you've seen that they've been releasing tons of new stuff about the new Zelda that's coming out next year, in particular, a new trailer. And if you're like me and you can't be at E3 in person, then you've probably been watching this trailer over and over again, trying to just get every little detail that you can out of it. So you know what, I thought, what the heck, let's just go ahead and go through it and see if we can't find anything interesting. I've played pretty much every big console Zelda, most of the handhelds, so maybe we'll find some Easter eggs. We'll see. So if you haven't seen the trailer alone by yourself, then I highly encourage you to go and just watch it before checking out the analysis. It definitely is a pretty intense experience. Well, maybe intense isn't the right word, but we'll get into it. So let's just go ahead and get it started.
Open your eyes.
Clearly we start with voiceover, which is huge. Now, you're going to be seeing a lot of this up here, but we've got these towers that seem to be dotted all across the landscape, and we're going to see them in some of the wider shots, but good to take note of right now. We've also got Link down here on his horse, just sort of trotting along through this canyon, which I'm not really sure what these are. They certainly don't seem to be natural. Maybe some bokoblins made them. Who knows? Another thing, and I do apologize, I will be pausing a lot. One thing we're going to notice also is tons of ecosystem variety. We've got some palm trees here, a pretty lush, warm-looking environment. We've got a little, what seems to be if we pull forward just a little bit here, just a little sort of, I guess you might even call it a gazebo? Hard to say, but looks like some sort of either Zora or maybe some nasty little monsters have built themselves a little beachside lake house, as it were. Somewhere to go fishing. Now, I've got some more palm trees here, and a nice little color gradient, and if you look up here, we'll go ahead and keep on watching. Oh, balls! We'll just try that again. Got a big old guy up here. He's not there for too long. See if we can't pull it back a little bit further. A giant skeleton. Now, I don't know too much about this. Stalfos, as you'll know, according to Ocarina of Time anyway, are created because people were lost in the woods, but I don't want to know what got lost in the woods to create this up here. Quite frankly, not looking forward to that fight, and yet, at the same time, very much looking forward to it. Also, ducks. I'm gonna kill them. That's about all I got. You can go hunting in this game. My bow, my arrow. Gonna find some ducks. That's really all I got. Also, the water. Holy hell. It looks beautiful in this game. And that's one thing that has always got me about these Zelda games, is just sort of the lushness, the people will call it cartoony, but I think it just looks sort of timeless. It's a painted look. And one of the things that I've noticed across this E3 is this painted look seems to be getting a lot of steam. You've seen games like Overwatch, Battleborn, the new game from Volition, I believe, the Saints Row people. I mean, a lot of these companies are starting to make very cel-shady, cartoony-looking games, because I think we're starting to get to a point where graphics aren't going to start to look that much better. We're pretty close to real life, and, well, this is sure as hell going to look good a lot longer. Got, and we'll see these a little bit later in the trailer, but we've got some interesting little sort of walkways along the edge of the cavern, or not cavern, the cliff face here. All right. So here's our first kind of wide shot. Oh, pull it back just a little bit. These shots are a lot shorter than I would like. So we can't quite see all the way, but right here, this is in fact, and I guess if you haven't seen or listened to anything that they're talking about at E3, spoilers, this is the top, the spire of the ruins of the Temple of Time. Yes, that Temple of Time that we've seen a billion different times, but it's still awesome. And it is broken down. It is decrepit. It's a shell of its former self, which, one thing that so many themes going on. I'm going to harp on them quite a bit, but this is definitely a broken Hyrule. This is a Hyrule that, if I were to take a guess, which I don't think is too wild of a guess, this is long after any of the games that we've played thus far, other than perhaps Wind Waker. But this is, it's all broken. Everything's been grown over. Very Last of Us-y, actually, except clearly in a Zelda place. We've got a lovely shot here. The wings of... I should pause sooner. Can you tell I've never done this before? Let's do this again. We've got the wings here, which are very reminiscent of the wings that you'll see on the Hylian shield, and just the Hylian crest in general. And if I'm not mistaken, there's a bridge that comes along the bottom here, which leads into the Kingdom of Hyrule proper. So perhaps a sort of a guard gate, as it were. And we've also got a really cool mountain that we'll get a closer look at later in the trailer, with a huge crevice sort of in the middle, broken apart. Wonder how that happened. That'd be kind of neat to see. Got some more deer, some lush grass. The grass is insane. Like, it actually looks really good. It reminds me of some of those Skyrim mods that added tons and tons of grass. And again, something we'll see later. Some of these guys up here, these are in fact guardians, Hylian guardians. Most of them seem to be offline, but as we'll see later, we'll see some more that are a little bit more active. Now the rain effects, and I'm just going to sort of play through this so y'all can see it. The rain right here is gorgeous. Sort of comes down in sheets, has a nice spattering effect on the ground.
Wake up, Link.
Now it's interesting that she actually calls him Link. It makes me wonder, I couldn't imagine them taking out the ability to change your name, and I'm fairly sure that, that's sort of how it was. Maybe this is even just for the trailer. But I find it interesting that who I presume to be Zelda is calling you by Link's name, not your name. So let's pull back.
Wake up, Link.
We've got our first look at Link here. We've got a glider. And this gives us our first really good look. First of all, we can look over here. Link sporting his blue tunic, as we saw from the first trailer a couple years ago. And just, man, this stretches all the way. We've got Mount Doom up here in the far end. At least I assume it's Mount Doom. It looks the most doomish of the mountains. Or not Mount Doom. Death Mountain. Mount Doom is Lord of the Rings. I'm getting my childhood fantasies all mixed up. Yes. Death Mountain. Apologies. And then we've got what looks like a castle over here. Could be Hyrule Castle. And what's interesting, and something that I haven't seen anybody talking about really, and maybe they have and I just haven't spotted it. We'll see in both gameplay and in this trailer that around the castle, at least at the start of the game, I assume, there's a strange red, almost hurricane, a strange aura which surrounds this castle in the middle. And as you can see, and I'll pull it back just one more time so we can take a look, that aura is not present here. Now that makes me wonder if that's something that's going to happen later on, mid-game, or if this is later on in the game that we're currently seeing. But it's interesting to note, and we'll see a brief little sort of cut of what could be part of a little story thing for that. And you can see that this is really just a really, really pretty game. Taming horses is a thing, so maybe not a dedicated Epona. And then here's, I think, the bridge that I was talking about that was underneath those Hylian wings. And as I mentioned, here are some of those towers that we're going to see dotting the landscape, and that might be the castle over there. Also confirmed, Link can climb stuff. He can climb everything. And here's the split down the middle mountain that we saw earlier. So let's just take a quick look at each of these various climbing locations. So you can climb trees, you can climb the Temple of Time itself. It's not Assassin's Creed style where he jumps for handholds. He just sort of makes his way up there. And it's kind of nice because he just goes straight up a cliff face. Wherever you want to go, you can do it as long as you've got the stamina. And that mountain just kind of gives you a sense of scale. There's little Link down there. He's got a ways to go. His arms are going to be sore by the end of this. Another cool thing, you can cut trees down. And not just this tree, you can cut down any of these trees. And this one just sort of is set up in a way that it will come across and form a bridge, but you can do that. You can dive in the water. You can go hunting. The bow is seems to be a pretty important facet of the game. Here we see, I love cutting bushes in Zelda games. Well, now I've got a new fascination because I think I'm a pyro. See him burning up the little bits of grass there, and it seems to be spreading. It's hard to tell if it spreads just because he's moving it along, or if it'll actually spread from bits of grass to bits of grass. Love to see just a huge fire just sweeping across the fields of Hyrule, but maybe I'm not the hero that Hyrule needs. Just the one it deserves. Now another new thing is we've got cooking here, and all of these right here, the acorn, the mushroom, it looks like an apple in there. You actually just gather those in the world. This isn't like a scripted event or anything. You just gather them in the world, and you can take them and use them to create new recipes or new dishes that will regain your hearts, regain your stamina. Some apparently will do things like improve your stealthing ability. I don't know. It seems like the possibilities are pretty endless on that front. Definitely looking forward to seeing what we can do there. Here we see him shooting down a beehive and just tormenting those poor bokoblins. Dropping boulders, and here's a big... If there's a big item for this game, I have a feeling that it's going to be this right here. This right here is the Sheikah Slate, I believe is what it's called, or the Sheikah Tablet. I should have written that down. But essentially it is Link's Wii U gamepad. But it's a little bit less on the nose than that. It does a lot of things. It seems to open shrines, temples of different sorts. You use this alongside many different runes to create and throw bombs, or even pick up and throw magnetic objects. It's really actually quite neat, all the different things that it seems to be able to do, and I doubt have even scratched the surface with all the runes that this baby can get a hold of. So I'm looking forward to what it can do. So here's one. Lifting up just stone out of the ground, stone shaping. That's pretty amazing. There's the magnet I was talking about. Oh, and here we got some nice rain. I love rain, but what I do not love is lightning just coming down and smashing next to me. Not a big fan of that. But if I had to guess, I'd say that this is probably dynamic. The weather itself certainly is dynamic. That is confirmed, but lightning striking right next to me, that's a little terrifying. So not sure if that's the work of the weather or perhaps some enemy that we haven't seen. Now, here's where we're going to have to do... We can get a good shot at it right here. I'm going to try and get another couple of good shots. So here we can see that we're at some sort of pedestal, which certainly seems to fit our little Sheikah Slate tablet thing here. And there's a little light glowing over here on Hyrule Castle, as you can see. Also, completely unrelated, but haven't seen a good time to bring it up. Link actually has sort of an inventory system. You can change his tunics, you can change his weapon, you can change his shield based on just what you find in the world. So this shield right here is different from the one that you saw earlier, which is different from one you'll see later. Something to keep an eye on through the rest of the trailer. But back to this. We've got a little light here, which I'm not sure what that is. Here we go. Let's, we're going to try and skip forward slowly. There we are. So this is what I was talking about. Now, it's a very strange red aura. The light is still definitely there, and it doesn't seem to be like a part of this dark aura. But but it definitely appears to be Hyrule Castle. If I had to guess, this is probably either a message or a beacon from Zelda herself. And this, while I can't confirm, does seem to have some interesting looking horns sort of crawling up it. Maybe Ganon at work, hard to say. And a very, I'll try and get that little Link reaction shot. All right, that's a pretty good look at Link. That's probably one of the best looks we've actually gotten of him. He is a little bit different from whenever we saw him at the last trailer. He's a little bit more, well, masculine looking, to be about as blunt as I can be. You know, it's the art style. Whatever the developers think is best, I'll sort of go with them on that. But I really dig the detail in all of this. It is a very sort of cell shaded. It looks very Studio Ghibli-esque, but I do like the detail that they've definitely got in the wardrobe. And we're gonna just try to sneak along. There we go. Now this right here, probably the best shot that we've got of this shape right here, because this does appear to be separate from the rest of the aura, and it does have a distinctive horned look. So, not confirming Ganon, but I'd say that there's a pretty good shot that he's behind this. And again, we can't quite see what's going on up there. The light is much brighter here. I actually hadn't noticed that before, but the beacon of light seems to have grown, and this aura is just getting higher and higher and higher up above the top of the castle. Or the top of the castles are about right here. This is just in their spire. But yeah. Now, here we are back. Just this trailer does kind of go all over the place, and there's not a whole lot of story stuff to really glean from it. But we'll just keep on moving forward. We're just trying to get every little detail we can. Now, you can see that not only does Link have a spear here as his primary weapon currently, which is awesome, but he also, you could see a little slow motion there. Now, that's not just for the pizzazz of the trailer. Much like Wind Waker, if you press, if you either block or dodge at the perfect time, you can, in fact, cause the game to go into slow motion, and you can get a bunch of really fast attacks off. Similar to parrying in Dark Souls, although instead of a really heavy hit, you get a chance to just swipe at them just a ton of times. And you'll see that right there. Now, I don't know what this guy is. He is well, he's big. Much bigger than most people that will fight that aren't bosses in Zelda games. But here he is, and he seems to just sort of be chilling out here in the winter wasteland. See if we can't get another good look at him. There we are. Now, Link, you can see, is also wearing different clothing again, different shield, and a different weapon as he swings it. One thing that I saw in the gameplay is that you will actually have a little temperature meter and a sound meter. Now, the temperature meter, based on where you are, so right now he's in a very snowy area. If Link either doesn't take a certain potion or eat a certain food to keep him warm, or if he's not wearing warmer clothing, he will actually start to freeze and start to die, which is really, really vastly different from anything we've seen before. We've seen areas blocked off before by heat, and I believe that there will be places like that in this game, but to see that sort of survival element is really, it's an interesting turn, a really welcome turn, I think. We've got some very quick cuts here. I do apologize again. I know I'm going back and pausing and all this stuff over and over. But we've got what appear to be some Stalfos. Very doofy looking Stalfos with big heads. And they seem to be coming out at night and bothering Link as he normally would. But this is what I really wanted to see and back up for. It's kind of tough to really get a good look at, but it's a sort of blade, but with almost two sides sort of poking out. We'll see if we can get a very, yeah. It's kind of hard to get a great look at, but it seems to sort of jut off and then come up to the side like that. It's a really interesting looking weapon. I'm not quite sure what it is. but I'm definitely I'm looking forward to using it. That's all I have to say. Choo-choos confirmed. Whether that's good or bad is up to you. Also confirmed plate armor for Link. Who'd have thought, right? Link the Paladin, or just the straight-up knight. The choo-choos have a nice little sort of refracting effect on them that's pretty cool. Now, I'm just going to let this one play real quick. Look at that. Look at that. We'll get to the rock guy in a second. That is a huge explosion, and a very pretty explosion as well. Now, a couple things that we can see here, aside from just the people, well, bokoblins getting horribly, horribly murdered, we do have these barrels down here. Those are what make the explosion much, much larger with this fire arrow, or perhaps exploding arrow. Hard to say. But we also have up here a little treasure chest. And that treasure chest, as they've shown at the E3 demos, if you kill all of the enemies in a certain area, these little skull chests will open, and they'll have some goodies like weapons or just stuff to help you, gear in general. Also, didn't notice this before, a little skull mountain thing. Kind of looking forward to seeing what's in there. Alright, let's see that beautiful explosion. Oh, look at that. Explosions can also knock over trees, which is awesome. Now, this big ol' SOB, a stone golem, I mean, I don't know how you're going to kill that thing. Your sword's probably not going to do a whole lot of damage, so I hope you got a lot of bombs on you, Link. Got some desert. Another one of these towers here, but this right here, more than any other shot, probably gives you a good idea of, and this one as well, gives you a good idea of just how open the game is. So, anything that you see, just sort of the old Skyrim or Oblivion adage, you can see it, you can go there. And then we'll take a look here. We got some snowy mountains, a flag up here, perhaps an outpost or just remnants of an old fortress or some such. Hard to say. Everything really is speculation. And here, we've got a shrine. Little treasure chest down here, too. If you remember that that's there whenever you get the game, don't forget it. I showed you. It's right there. These shrines, though, they're kind of like small dungeons. They seem to be very puzzle-oriented, and you'll get some good stuff like runes and maybe some items from them. And Eiji Aonuma, the big Zelda producer guy, has said that there's going to be like 100 of these shrines in the game, which is really cool and really exciting, so something to look for. And that's on top of the traditional sort of dungeons that we're used to seeing in a Zelda game. So there's a lot to look forward to. And you can see he's using the tablet here to open up the shrine. The doors open and he heads down. We've got some guardians. We've got the dead ones over here. We've got one alive up here. Nothing terribly new. We saw them in the trailer from the last E3, or perhaps it was the E3 before that. I can't quite recall, actually. He doesn't look angry, or doesn't look too happy to see us, though. And the money shot. The Master Sword. And it is beaten up. Too many links, too many times Ganon's tried to do stuff. It's just, you gotta use a whetstone, man. You gotta keep your blades sharp. Andre the Blacksmith would not be pleased. And of course, the big reveal, Breath of the Wild. And they're using that broken down Master Sword as sort of the central iconic image, which really, going back to theming, it really does sort of put the entire game's, I guess, theme into perspective. It's a Hyrule that is old. It's a Hyrule that is, if not hasn't been abandoned, then it's certainly been neglected. So I'm interested to see if this means the Master Sword has lost its power, or if it's just simply not been used in a long time. Be interesting to see. But that is pretty much everything. We'll go ahead and let it play out. You can enjoy the lush grass and background. The fog effects are really great too. All right, well, thank you guys for watching. I know that there are tons of different people who are going to be picking this apart, but let me know if you saw anything that I missed, or that you saw in perhaps another video, and let me know if these videos are interesting to you. Let's Plays are fun, but I like to branch out from time to time. So, as always, you stay beautiful and stay tuned, because we got some more games in general on the way. See you guys later.